He's gonna go. He's gonna fight me. He's a big puppy. He thinks he's awesome.
Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking. I'm here to review a game for you, and the game I'm reviewing today is called Stockpile. Now, as you can probably guess by the name Stockpile, this game is about the stock market, or a stock market within the game, not like the actual real stock market, if you will. The players in the game will buy and sell shares of these companies, and all vying to make the most money throughout the game. And then if you can become the majority stockholder of the company, you gain a bonus at the end, and all those sorts of things, and all these little tricks and hoops and whistles and whatever that you can do to make money as the game is played. Now, I really like economic games. I really like stock market games, even though I'm really bad at them. I've never been really great at math, but I've always liked games where the victory points, the money, is actually something that you use. It's a resource. And there's a lot of games out there where you get victory points and it's just victory points. It's just telling you how good you're doing as you play the game. It doesn't really fluctuate that much. But in games like this, it fluctuates constantly because you are spending your victory points because you're investing them in the idea that you'll get more victory points back after you use them. And I've always really enjoyed that method, that risk that you have. You know, and it's probably kind of appeals to like the poker gambling aspect as well. You're risking something because you have the idea that you're going to get that back and more, and so I've always really liked that. And so when the designer Seth asked me if I'm willing to do this review for him for his Kickstarter, I was really intrigued by the game, and I said sure, and I played it, and it's been a hit with my gaming group. And so I'm going to show you how to play like I always do. And then we'll come back here and I'll go expound a little bit. You already know one of the main reasons why I'm going to dig the game, but I'll expound a little bit on that, the whole money thing, and also just what about the game that I really liked as well. So, alright, here we go. How to play Stockpile. Alright, this is Stockpile. You have your little money up here. You have your trackers for each of the 6 companies that you will be trading in. Depending on the number of players, you will have 7 rounds of the 3-player game, 6 rounds of the 4, and 5 rounds with a 5. Each player will get a little player board. I'm sure this won't look like, once the game is published, I'm sure it won't look like this. This is a prototype. But like you have your stocks over here that you keep. Here's just basically what you can have to know how the game is played, the rounds, and what the forecast values are. I'll explain that in just a second. And here's if you ever actually, a stock splits, you take this and you put it over here, and basically then the stocks become worth double when they're in that location. Before the game begins, each player is dealt 1 random stock certificate. These are what they look like, and they'll represent the company. And then when you get your stock certificate, you just put it face down like that. And then, since there's other cards in the deck that aren't just stock certificates, you actually then you shuffle them in. You shuffle in action cards, which are those, and I'll explain what these are in just a second. Action cards will both raise or lower the value of different stocks. And then there's also these things which are trade fees, which, once again, I will explain that in just a moment. So, you determine a first player, however you want to determine that. I think the rules in the game is whoever paid the most for their last meal gets to go first, but obviously you can do this however you want. Then, before the round starts, you're going to deal 1 of these company cards at random to each player. Notice how there's 6, so if you there's always going to be 1 left over, even with a 5-player game. If you have like a 3-player game, however, you deal out 3, and then well, 1 second here. So you'll deal out 1 of those, and you also deal out 1 of these cards. This is going to tell you if the stock's going to raise or lower, and this is like insider secret information. And so like you'll know, like say if you got Epic Electric and you got this -3, you would know that Epic Electric was going to lose 3 spots on the track over there. So that's like knowledge that would be very important to you. If you get this card here, that means that the stock is going to pay off dividends. And so when this is revealed, for every stock you own of that company, you're going to get $2,000. So obviously knowing that's a pretty big deal. But anyway, so you deal out 1 of those to each person. They keep it secret. They don't let anybody know until the game tells you to do it, which I'll explain in just a second, of course. And then 1 of them at random, whatever's left, if it's 5, that's the only one left, you deal one of those cards and say like this. And so you'll have that out there. So we know that American Automotive is going to increase by 1. And then, but everybody else. And so also, since this is like open knowledge, you can see the forecast values are +4 and all those. So if you're playing a 5-player game, you know that all the rest of those are going to come true as well. So something to keep in mind. So after that is done, what will happen is each person, as I said, has 1 market card right there. And then each person then will be dealt market cards off the top of this giant deck. And they get 2 of them. And so if you get, like, say, I didn't shuffle all these up, so just, I apologize. But say, like, you got these 2 cards. Pay $3,000, so if you get this card, you have to pay $3,000 in trade fees. And a stock certificate of Cosmic Computers. On your turn, you have to place one of these cards face up and one of these cards face down on one of these 5 locations down here. Now, you'll notice that there's no company associated with these in any way, shape, or form. They're just there. And what you'll do, so like, you'll take, maybe you don't want to tell everybody that -3,000 is there. So you go -3,000 there, and face up like so. And then each other person is going to do the exact same thing. You know, they're going to say, okay, face up stock certificate, and like so. And, you know, maybe somebody will just go, you know, they're going to show, here's an action card. You know, maybe you're just trying to, like, get somebody, like, really excited to get that action card, and face down. And so you're going to do this, and so I'm like, theoretically playing a 5-player game. So what's going to happen is we're going to get 10 cards out there in total. So I got 2 more to do here. So let's say that stock certificate, and let me just draw one here. Put that one face down. 1 more. And so stock certificate face up. And one there. So let me make sure I got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, there. Okay, cool. So I have my 10 cards out, and now comes the bidding part. And I love games with bidding, and so each person's going to have a meeple starting with the first player. They're going to pick a spot saying they really want these 3 cards, and they're willing to pay $3,000. They put the 3 there. And somebody else says, I'm willing to pay 6. So you immediately put that down, and the person that got outbid takes it back immediately. Now maybe, like, this person, one person just wants that. You know, I'm willing to pay $1,000 for that stock certificate. Maybe they know something. Maybe, you know, the American Automotive is going up 1. Maybe that's why they want that. Who knows? So he leaves that alone. So then green says, well, there's no way it's worth 10,000. Or I'm sorry. So like yellow goes, and maybe they go here. Then blue really wants that one, so yellow takes it back. And then green goes, and they're going to pay there. And like maybe yellow will go there. So after everybody has, and then after everybody's got it down, and they can't be outbid at that point, then the bidding is over. And you will go, and you'll actually, then you're going to collect, you're going to pay for what, I should say you start with $20,000. I should mention that. But then you're going to pay for your cards, and everybody takes their cards, and they're done with them. Like so. You just pull them all back like so. And each person then, if you got an action card, like we know this person got an action card here, they get to adjust one of the trackers by lowering it by 2. You can't, like, pick 2 to go down 1. You have to pick 1 to go down 2. So maybe they just, you know, want to lower Stanford Steel and lower it down by 2. And I know I gave some other ones here. So, oh, and I should mention also that if you get one of these cards at the -3,000, you have to pay that. If you can't pay it, you keep it in your hand until you can. And the moment that you have $3,000, you have to pay it off. Or $2,000 or whatever it is. But they get this action to go up to, and so maybe, you know, this person has a lot of the bottom line bank, and so they're going to raise that by 2. And I think in this case, yeah, I'm out of all of my action cards. So that's the entire the manipulation of the market at that point now is done. So once we've done all the action cards, we can go to selling. And so at this point, if you have stocks that you want to sell, so like maybe somebody was low on money and they wanted to sell the bottom line bank, they wanted to sell it for the 7,000 piece. They could sell shares, and they go right into you get rid of them. You drop them off here. So you'd like, let me see if no, I gave it. So here's a bottom line bank. You just put that in the discard pile. All right, I'm going to sell that. I need $7,000 because I want to be able to bid higher next round. So you pay $7,000, and that's done. Now there is, because of the fact that at the end of the game, whoever's got the most stock in a company is the majority shareholder, you get a bonus of $10,000. So keeping your stock secret is part of the game as well. I mean, there's a lot of secret information in this game, so keeping it secret is really important. And you sometimes don't want people to know which companies you have lots of stocks in, and that comes into play like when you get that dividend card. You reveal what you want to gain your money. So you say, okay, you know, and you say, okay, I have 2 or whatever. If you don't want to reveal this stuff, there's nothing about the game that makes you do that. You can keep your stock secret as long as you want to, but always, obviously by choosing not to reveal at certain points, you're actually costing yourself in cash as well. So after you've gone through the selling point, then you will go ahead and you go to the market phase. And then at that point now, that's when everybody reveals their company cards and do it. So like this would American Automotives would go up 1. And then so everybody else would reveal what they have or what their insider information was. So let's say, you know, somebody reveals that Cosmic Computers is going to go down 2. So you lower that down 2. So it's only worth 3,000. And then you reveal that Epic Electric is going up +2. So go down here, increase that. And then maybe Leading Laboratories really took a hit, -3. Maybe they weren't so leading after all. So we go all the way down to 2, like so. And we reveal that Stanford Steel is going to be worth 2,000 dividends for each person. So that like each person then reveals, if they have a Stanford Steel, they can reveal that and earn $2,000. They don't lose the stock at all, but they do flip it over and it remains flipped over. And then you have, like here, we have like the bottom line bank and +4. They're the big winners. Now, you'll notice that the bottom line bank actually gets up into this spot here. And what that does, when that happens, is the stock then splits. And if you're unfamiliar with what that means, basically what it means is that every stock that a person holds of like bottom line bank is now considered to be 2 stocks. And so, if you have, let me find my bottom line bank card here. Oh, here, it's right here. So if you had a bottom line bank here, you can now move it over to here on the stock split, and you could show now that's worth 2. And so if you were to sell that, like for, and then this goes back down, but if like this got up to like 9 or whatever, and you wanted to sell it, you could sell it for 18,000 at that point because it's split. Now, you can't ever split it again. You'd have to actually get stuff here, and then if like, it actually gets back up there, then that splits and goes over here. Interestingly, if you just wanted to sell it once, you can sell split stocks just once, and you move them back over to the stock portfolio, meaning that you'd only sold half of it. So that's an option as well. Now, the opposite of that would be obviously bankrupt. If you ever get down to the trash can down here, you will reset it to 5, but at that point the company went bankrupt, and anybody that has stock in it actually has to just get rid of the stock. They get no money for it, and they just discard it and put it aside. And that obviously is catastrophic and really fun if you can do it to people that have a lot of stock in that company. So you do this, and then you clean everything off. You repeat that process. The first person mark. This is the first person marker, and this what we have for this game goes to the next person over. They start off, and so each so it isn't just the same person that's go first every single turn, and you do that until you get to the end of the game. Once you get to the end of the game, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. When you split, I put it on the 5. It goes in the 6. I apologize for that. When you split, you go back to 6, not 5. But when you go bankrupt, you do go back to 5. But if once you get through all the turns of the game, then you just basically you're going to total up all the money. So each person, well, first of all, you figure out whoever has the majority of the stocks in any of the companies gets $10,000. If anybody ties, and that can be if like 2 people tie, 3 people tie, 4 people tie, each person gets $5,000 instead. Then you sell back your shares equal to the final value of that stock. So this is definitely a game where when it climbs up and gets up to here, it's nice to have it split, but then it goes back down to 6. And so it's one of those things where it's like, do I sell it? Is it getting close to the end of the game? Do I sell it when it gets up to 8 or 9? Can I get to split one more time? Is it worth it for me to do that? Good choices as far as one of those awesome little choices in the game that you have. And then basically then you just figure out who's got the most money. Whoever has the most money then wins the game. There is, I didn't include these just because this is kind of like a little expansion of the game. I like playing around with this, but I kind of like the sheer like austerity of just not having these little abilities in the game. But there's these investor cards, and you might, Maverick, Mark, whatever. They have different little powers and abilities that you can use. Like during the game, you can have this in there, like obviously discount Donald, notice the hair, and so they have little power, like ways to break the rules or whatever the investors do, and they're fun and they're kind of neat, and obviously they're based on real people, so it's kind of clever and kind of fun. But it's definitely, in my opinion, this is one of those things where this is kind of a take it or leave it thing. If you want to add a little alteration to it, and you just want to have that ability to like have a role, if you will, it's definitely a welcome addition to the game, and you can definitely play it with this. I played it with it, it was fun, but I enjoyed it without it, so that's just me. But the way you do this is you deal out 2 of these to each person, they pick one, and then they keep it. So like, just so you obviously saw the iconography on the bottom of those cards, but just like, for example, Broker Bernie, like obviously Bernie Madoff, whenever he gets to have to pay trade fees, he doesn't pay them. He gets the money instead. So, oh, I got a trade fee of $3,000. I'm not going to pay $3,000. I'm going to get $3,000 if that's the case. If you once like Maverick Mark, he allows you to, after they've gotten done with the bidding, and after the market, he gets to move one of the cards that's back and forth. He can take one card and move it somewhere else. So it's just fun little abilities that like add a little wrinkle. But like I said, with my economic games, I like it when everybody's on the same level playing field. So depends on what you just like. So, but there you go. That's how you play Stockpile. It's an awesome, tense, fun little money game. But let me tell you more about it here with my. Alright, so I didn't mention this. This game comes with these little playing card money, if you will. And I know in a lot of my other reviews I've mentioned my, I shouldn't say hatred, but my dislike for paper money in games. I've never liked it. It's one of those things where in games like this where you have to know how much money somebody has, instead of having to ask somebody how much money you have. I think it appeals to my poker nature, but it's just like you can just look over and see their chips, and you can say, okay, he's got 27,000, and you just know by looking at it. And I've always liked that, and so I didn't show you my poker. If other people watch my old videos, you probably see my poker chips. I have these awesome mini poker chips that are quarter sized that I use for my board games, and I didn't use those in this because of the fact. Not that this money is actually not that bad compared to some of the other stuff that I play with, but I just wanted to show the actual components that the prototype came with, because I think then that is a more accurate representation of what the game, when it is published, what it'll look like. So there you go. So. Alright, well, I like the game, but, I knew I was going to like the game. When Seth contacted me about it and described the game to me, I knew it being a stock market game, it being a money economic game, I knew I was going to enjoy it, just because I really, as I said in the I said in the introduction, I enjoy games where you're using your victory points as a resource during the game, because it's that tough decision situation. And I love games that give me tough decisions, and I don't want ever to be obvious what's the best move for me. There's so many things about this game beyond that. You can play any economic game, and that's the case. But there's so many things about this game beyond that I really enjoy. I love the hidden information. I love putting the cards down and being able to like set traps for my unsuspecting players. If I know somebody, if I know somebody's like been gaining like tons of like bottom line bank, I love putting a stock market or like when you see a bottom line bank stock card out there, putting a big fee on there, or putting You know, putting like or trying to get an action card so I can lower that. You know, making sure I get put an action card down so I can lower the availability of that particular part. I love the secret information cards. I mean, there's nothing better than knowing that you have a card that is going to be that something's going to lower down to, or you know, and is going to hit bankruptcy, and watching other people buying that stock and just kind of giggling to yourself. And the fact that, like, if you know that like the stock is going to lower, and you sell it like right before you reveal that whole insider trading aspect, you know, it's like, oh, how did you know to sell all your stock right before that point? Well, you know, just because I had that card. And it's stuff like that that makes the game, those little moments, that wonderful little that stuff that you remember from game to game, that really shines through. The great thing about economic games is that they don't really grow stale, basically because you're always kind of going against each other. And whenever you have human interactivity, the replayability of any game goes through the roof, and that is incredibly evident with Stockpile, which is probably one of the reasons why I didn't really like, I mean, I shouldn't say I didn't like it. I think the addition of the investor cards is fun, and it's cute, and it kind of adds a little thing, and it's much more of a family game atmosphere with that, like a much more relaxed atmosphere. But if I want to play against my gamers, I want to play the game without that little break the rules thing. Everybody's on the same level, as I said, and you're just battling wits and just trying to outsmart each other and trying to be more clever than the other. And I like games that have those wonderful tense moments of when you actually do buy the cards, the stock cards on that spot, and like you've got the cards that you don't know what they are, and you're going to turn them over, and hopefully you're not, you know, going to be upset over what you find on the other side, and the reveal of the insider trading cards, things like that. Those parts of this game make it all kinds of awesome, and I really enjoy the heck out of it with my friends. So, if you like stock market games, money games, then I think this is something you definitely want to check out. If you're looking for an economic game that's on the lighter spectrum, it isn't exactly a light game, but when I compare it to other economic games that I really enjoy, games like, say, Planet Steam, or even Power Grid, for example, or Locomotive Works, things like that I really enjoy playing with my friends. This definitely, in my mind, is a lighter game on that, but it's on like the same ladder, if you will. So if you're looking for a game, like if you have a spot in your shelf for a game like that, I think this is definitely something you're going to want to back, and you're going to want to put and be on that shelf so you can take it out and play when you have an itch for this type of game, but you don't want to have the big mental slugfest, I guess, if you will. But it has enough crunchiness, it has enough substance for me that I've never felt like kind of weirdly unsatisfied when the game was done. I always felt like it was kind of a mental boxing match with the other people at the table, which is something that I always enjoy. So, for all those reasons, I heartily recommend Stockpile. If you have any questions about the game, by all means, please post those. I'll try to answer those to the best of my ability. As always, I greatly appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. And until next time, you have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye.